celebrate Ruben Reyes. And for veterans, that's his community of people whose life he impacted and the relationships he cultivated and the people that he chose to share his life with. For those of you who I've not met yet, I'm Reverend Tina Atkins. I had the privilege of calling Ruben my friend and my chosen family. I'm honored to be here today. It's a lot different when you're doing it at home. Before we continue, I'd like to invite you to join us outside so that we may join Ruben's unit, the Honor Color Guard, in honoring Ruben's military service.
Good afternoon, everyone. We're out here for Ruben's memorial. This is our team right here. He was with us. If you notice in the middle, we have an empty spot. That's where Ruben would have been. It's really hard on us because he's our brother. A year ago, we were together. We were firing. We were firing for other people who had passed. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Our chaplain will say a few words.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, today we honor and remember Ruben A. Reyes. Heavenly Father, welcome our departed Marine brother into thy arms. Provide comfort and solace to his family, friends, and fellow Marines. May he always be remembered forever as a hero for his military service and as a member of the Marine Corps League. Amen.
Stand by. Detail. Oh, dear. Huh. All right. Peace. Board. Hold 'em. Ready. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Aim. Fire. Free cover. Freeze and hold 'em. Order! Huh! Dismissed. United States of America, United States Marine Corps. We present this flag to you as a token of gratitude for his honorable service proceed inside now.
Being here today at Ruben's Marine Lodge and being honored by the very Marine Honor Color Guard unit he himself was a member of makes this especially meaningful. Being a Marine was never just something to Ruben, it was really a part of who he was. The loyalty, pride, discipline, and brotherhood stayed with him throughout his life. So having his fellow Marines recognize one of their own here today is a powerful way to begin honoring him. Thank you, and thank you for your service. I want to begin by saying clearly, this is not going to be your typical celebration of life. Because let's face it, Ruben was not typical. And I want to acknowledge that we all grieve differently through faith, family tradition, prayer, quiet reflection, whatever it is that's meaningful to us. However, today, the invitation is to honor Ruben in a way that feels more like him. So here's how this afternoon is going to unfold. I'm going to begin us here. Shortly, I'll open the floor to anyone who would like to share a positive, fun, meaningful memory of Ruben or an experience that they had with him. After that, we'll enjoy food, mariachi music, celebration, laughter, and if the spirit moves us, maybe some karaoke. Because you know Ruben loved his karaoke. Because truly the best way to honor Ruben is probably not by sitting quietly in perfect sadness, but by doing exactly what we're doing today. Living, sharing a meal, telling stories, telling jokes, and having a good time in his honor. Today brings together people from many different chapters of Ruben's life, many different relationships that grew through family, friendship, service, work, and the simple act of living alongside one another. Whatever brought you here today, thank you for being here to honor a man who clearly left an imprint. In this moment, I'd like to invite us into a couple minutes of silence, not to focus on our loss of Ruben, but to focus on him. His smile, his laughter, his sarcasm, his presence, and the impact he had on each of us. Thank you. Ruben was born in Pasadena, California, November 18, 1961. After high school, he joined the Marines. After his military service, he went on to earn his master's degree in business from UCLA. To Ruben, UCLA wasn't just where he studied, it was his alma mater. Go Bruins. Ruben loved football. Growing up in LA, the Dodgers were the team, so wearing the Dodger blue was just something that you did. But the Raiders, as you can see, the Raiders were something entirely different. Ruben was Raider Nation through and through. No matter where they called their home, he was loyal, and that loyalty was not negotiable. Ruben was many things. He was a son, a brother, a nephew, a father, an uncle, a friend, and a husband. Being loved by Ruben meant something. He had a kind heart, He was the kind of person who would give you the shirt off his back. He made friends easily. He told you the truth, even though you may not want to hear it. He respected you enough to be honest with you, and he absolutely let you know if you crossed the line. He freely shared his wisdom that life had handed him. He guided while still allowing you to make your own choices. He celebrated your wins. He sat with you in your mistakes. That would be me. He expressed pride and disappointment with equal honesty. He was fiercely loyal, but he also knew when to back away. And let's be honest, he didn't take any shit. I think that's one of the many reasons that people loved him and wanted to be around him. Because he was authentic. He was funny, protective, generous, sometimes hilariously sarcastic, sometimes blunt enough to make you rethink your life choices, but always real. He also knew how to enjoy life, and he absolutely knew how to have fun. When Ruben moved to Tucson and later went to work at Walmart, he met Val. And if you know Val, she doesn't take no for an answer. Having said that, she shared with me how she gave Ruben her number. She ran into him at work and asked him what he was doing for the weekend. And he said, nothing, laundry, cleaning. And she looked him straight in the eye and she said, what? You don't have like a girlfriend or a wife to help you do that? Ruben said, no girlfriend, I'm not married. Then Valerie reached over, pulled the pin out of his lapel pocket, asked him for his hand, and said, give me your hand. So Ruben gave it to her. She took his hand and she wrote her number on his hand, folded up his hand, and said, yeah, use it if you want. I like that one. So a couple days later, Val gets a text from Ruben, and the text says, use it if you want. And you know, that's honestly a great way to start their story. They dated for quite a while, and then came to a proposal. And Ruben had said that he wanted to propose at a UCLA game. But somewhere along the way, that plan changed. So they were at a bar in Santa Monica prior to the game. And Valerie noticed that Ruben was going outside smoking a lot more than usual. She's like, what's up with that? Finally, he comes back in, and he asked her to join him outside. The sun was setting over the pier, and he looked at Valerie and said, isn't that a beautiful sunset? And then Ruben proposed. Followed by, I can't get down on one knee because I won't be able to get back up. Valerie said yes. And Val wasn't just Ruben's wife. And Ruben wasn't just Val's husband. They were true life partners. He loved Val deeply. He was kind, caring, protective, and by all accounts, an amazing husband. Okay, so you know. He wasn't just Val's husband though. He was her life partner, her person, and her soulmate. And it's very clear that they both loved each other very deeply. Being Gabriel's dad mattered to Ruben quite a bit. Not just in title, but in real time, in real life. He stepped into Gabe's life years ago, and over time, he became the kind of teacher, kind of dad that taught, mentored, corrected, encouraged, pestered, expected respect, gave respect, and helped shape the man who's standing in front of us today. That kind of relationship isn't built casually, it's built over years. Ruben wasn't big on emotional speeches. He wasn't someone who sat around talking endlessly about feelings. But when Ruben spoke, especially when it mattered, you listened. Because his words meant something. Because they came from experience. Because they came from love. And Gabriel, where are you? Something deserves to be said to you today clearly. Ruben was proud of you. Proud of the man you became. proud of your strength, proud of your heart, and he wants you to hear that clearly. And I think it matters just as much as the fact that you loved him deeply too. Love shows up in many ways, sometimes in laughter, sometimes in shared stories, sometimes in the quiet, hard moments when presence matters most. And Gabriel, you were there. Ruben loved his family, he loved his friends, he valued good company, shared meals, stories mattered to him, laughing mattered to him, giving people a hard time definitely mattered to him. And before we move on, I want to say something directly to Valerie and Gabe. Please know that as you move into this next chapter, you do not do this alone. This room is filled with people whose lives Ruben touched. He impacted them. And those people cared very deeply for both of you. And really, for all of us, one of the hardest things about grief is that we often don't know what we need in the moment. So maybe this is one of those times, instead of putting the burden on someone to ask us for help, we simply just reach out to each other. So I'm inviting all of you in these next chapters, as we go through this without Ruben, that we make that call. We bring that meal. We offer the company. We be specific, and we be present. Because this is something that we can do to reach out with each other. Before I open the floor to others to share memories, I'd like to just mention a few things that Ruben taught me. Never, ever, ever salt your drink. Line only. Set your cruise control to 5 miles above the speed limit. Ruben taught me how to lean like a Trello.
Yep.
He taught me that you can be kind and fierce at the same time. He told me never listen to words that tell you you're not a good human. And maybe the biggest lesson of all, Ruben lived his life in his own way, unapologetically. So live your life your way, just like he did. Ruben was a force. Yes, even despite those skinny chicken legs. And what made him unforgettable is this: he left fingerprints on all of our hearts. This is his legacy. His legacy isn't in memory. It lives in the lessons that he taught, the examples he demonstrated, the laughter he created, the courage that he modeled, and the honesty that he carried. And the wisdom he handed out, sometimes lovingly, oftentimes sarcastically. And I think that many of us on one day as we're talking, will come across a phrase and say, that sounds like something Ruben would say. And that is his legacy. At this time, I'd love to open up the floor to anyone who would like to share a positive, funny, meaningful memory of Ruben. Please tell us your name and your relationship, and try to keep it just to a couple of minutes so that everyone has an opportunity to speak. You guys can just come on up.
I am Jean Green. I am Ruben's big sister. So I knew Ruben when he was born. And I will tell you, listening to everything here, yes, it was sarcastic. Sometimes it was a pain in the butt. But Ruben was my brother. I loved him very, very much. He came from a family of love, where we all loved each other. And one thing that I truly remember, when Ruben went, as he was, I think he was like, he was still in high school. He worked for a Chinese restaurant where he was doing dishes. And him and I bought a little VW Beetle that we kind of worked over and were putting together. And we would take turns driving, and we bonded a lot during that time. But I'm just thankful to be here and see so many hearts and lives that we touched. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Ruben Reyes. I am Ruben's big brother. We all love each other so much. Understanding him is one thing that you had to know how to do it. I remember that being told just a few days ago that by Valerie that his favorite word was Jesus, 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 Jesus. I don't know if you've ever heard that, any of you. But he would, when we would talk, there we go. Oh, there we go. When we would talk, he would, you know, at his most sarcastic times in his life, that's what he'd say. Jesus, 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 Jesus. But I love him. You know, I wish Dad had gotten a chance to spend time with him before he left us. A week before I got the call, and I knew when Ruben's number came up, and it was Valerie on the other end, I knew what had happened. But a week before I got the call, it had been in my heart, you need to get in touch with your brother. You need to call Ruben. And I'm so bad about things like that, calling people and texting them. And 9 times out of 10, Ruben would call me first. So I was expecting him to call me, and I'm just sorry that I didn't get that chance to say goodbye to him. I didn't get a chance to hug him one more time and to tell him that I loved him. You know, because he was a great guy. I can tell by the way it's been spoken about him already that a lot of people took some lessons from what he said. And no greater teacher than one who can be honest with you and forthright. And you know what? I love him. He's my little brother. And God bless you, son. Or God bless you, brother. We'll see you soon. I think. I hope.
Go sit down. I know you guys have things to say about it. See, I knew it.
Okay, so my name is Lorinda. I'm Valerie's favorite cousin. I have 2 things I want to say. So the first one was when my grandma Santa passed away, her favorite restaurant was Golden Corral. And so when we decided after her services that we were going to go eat somewhere, my dad's like, you know, you need to make a reservation, blah, blah, blah. So we made a reservation at Golden Corral. So we were talking about where we were going to go afterwards. And Ruben kept asking, well, where are we eating at? Where's we eating at? I was like, oh, I have a reservation, I have a reservation. And so one thing somebody hasn't said about Ruben is Ruben was a snob. Because, a big time snob. Because when he found out we were going to Golden Corral, Ruben said, I'm not going to fucking Golden Corral. And he and Valerie, and they went somewhere else where he could sit down. He wanted napkins and silverware and what have you. He was too good for Golden Corral. That was one of my first experiences meeting Ruben. But my last experience with Ruben is the story that I'm going to tell you right now. So I had a friend whose grandmother had passed away, and she had a bunch of crosses on her wall. And she needed to get rid of them, and the first person I thought of was Valerie, because if you've ever been to Val's house, she's got this big wall that has a whole bunch of crosses on it. So I sent her a picture, and I said, hey, do you want these crosses? And she's like, yeah, bring them by. I'll take a look and pick the ones I want. I said, okay. So I took all these crosses over to Val's, and it was in the evening. We're sitting there, and we had just had a birthday party at my cousin's house. And my cousins were all talking about how they got together on Friday nights, and they were doing all this stuff, and I mentioned to Val, I said, you know, it's weird, but I didn't know that they were getting together on Friday nights. Nobody, you know, had ever told me that. And Ruben was sitting on the couch, and he said, that's because they don't fucking like you. And I was like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, I guess. Yeah, that's probably true. Thanks a lot, Ruben. And so I go home, and Valerie texts me, and she said, Ruben said, or I told Ruben that was messed up, and Ruben said to tell you that it didn't come out the way he meant it to. And I don't know what way he thought would be better. But it was really kind of funny. And that's just kind of the way Ruben always was. We had a lot of conversations about a lot of different things. And we talked about how blunt he was, and like, that was the truth. I probably am the most annoying cousin, so that's fine. But anyway, good guy, great person. He made Valerie super, super happy. And I told her, I said, you know, one of the things I think is really cool was that these last few years, when you guys knew, what was going to be coming, anytime Ruben wanted to go anywhere, you guys were like, all right, fine, let's go. You wanted to go do whatever, you wanted to go to Vegas, you wanted to go to California, you wanted to do whatever, and you were like, let's make that happen. So you made this, and you made his last few years amazing, I'm sure. He talked all the time about that. So you guys were it. So good for you, good for him, and fuck Ruben, whatever.
There's no time to be socially correct. Yes, sir.
Hello, everybody. My name is Ernie. I was Ruben's color guard captain. I'm going to jump in a bit. We went to Ruben's house one time, and I saw him. He was having a carne asada. Man, they could cook. It was good food over there. I gained 5 pounds that day. But anyways, when I saw Ruben, he looked really cool, like this Rico Suave dude. And I'm like, I gotta give him a nickname. So I didn't know what to say, so it popped in my head and said, you know what, I'm gonna call you Papi Chulo. So that name kind of stuck with him. When you said Ruben, I didn't know what you were talking about. I know Papi Chulo. So Ruben came down into the Marine Corps League to join the clubhouse, to join us, to hang out with the Marines, to drink with us. Because this is our home. This is where we can be ourselves most of the time. This is our hangout. So Ruben came and right away we jumped on it. We said, hey, we need members, we need a director, we need color guard, we need all this stuff. And Ruben says, I don't know. And Valerie says, yes, do it. So with Valerie's encouragement, Ruben became a director. Everything was great until he found out that as a director, you have to also clean the clubhouse. And he said, I joined to drink and have a good time and do it with my brothers, not to clean no clubhouse. Anyways, our last time that we were together, I think it was last May, we were at Castillo Star. That was our last firing, all of us together. And as you know, we do funerals all the time, frequently. But it's really hard when you have to do your own brother. It's just, it kills you. It hurts. It hurts like a piece of you is gone, Gone but not forgotten, but we'll be back together again. So, Papi Chulo, Marine, all the above, we love you. And I just want everybody to please lift up your drink. And I want to toast Ruben's guardian, the gates of heaven now. Even Marines go to heaven. We all go to heaven. We love you, brother. Salud.
Yes, anyone?
Amit?
Yes, anyone?
You Ruben? Amit?
Hi, my name is Rigo Gonzalez. I'm the Senior Vice Commandant here at the Marine Corps League. One of the newest members, and when I came in, I came across Ruben. And as I was around him, the first thing that if I can describe Ruben, and I heard a lot of descriptions that describe Ruben, but the way I saw him was, my description of Ruben is grit. And that's the way I describe it. And a lot of people don't understand what grit means, Marine grit. And that's what Ruben had. And without that Marine grit, a lot of things couldn't get done when you're a Marine. You need to have that quality, that characteristic, and Ruben had it. And so, as a young member, we're smart enough to know that there's an unspoken rule, and that rule is never poke the bear. And I don't know if anyone has seen YouTube videos about people poking Marine bears, but they're videos that teach you that lesson. And I think that was Ruben, very, very soft spoken, but don't poke the bear. That's my thing with Ruben. And like our countdown was saying, we went to visit Ruben. We ate with him, and I think that's the good quality of the Marine Corps League, to where we can go with a brother that's sick, sit with him, eat with him, bring up his spirits, because Valley confirmed that he ate that day. He hadn't been eating, right, Valley? His spirits were lifted, and we just came together, sat there, and we were just shooting the shit, you know, and you know, he was being Ruben like he always is, and I was glad to have participated and to have spent that time with him. If you look at the stage here, we have a way of honoring our brother. We always, when we lose our brothers, whether it be in combat or in peacetime, we always represent them with their cover on their service rifle and their shoes, placed at a 45-degree angle. And that's our way. Well, in this case, Ruben used those gloves to maneuver that weapon. So this is a way of us honoring Ruben. Also, if you look at the wreath and you look at our pants are blue with a red blood stripe. And this blood stripe represents a battle, a famous Marine Corps battle where we lost a lot of Marines. And if you see on his wreath, the red roses represents that blood stripe, and then the blue part of the trousers. Same with the platform that's displaying his service weapon and his cover. And this is our way of honoring Ruben Reyes. So, I think I want to get a cup and make a toast. So, let's do it. So there's a toast that I always like to make. Here's to fighting. If you fight, may you fight for a brother. Here's to saluting. You always salute our stars and stripes. And here's to drinking. If you drink, may you drink with me, or may you drink for me. And as far as saluting, also, you salute the stars and stripes, but you always give your brother, fellow Marine, that final salute. So if you would please stand, and I want to give Ruben our final salute. Present on! Order on! Thank you.
My name is Manuel Carlos Munguia. I'm senior lance corporal here. 50 years. God has to know about that. These Marines here are my younger brothers. I'm the old guy here, except for Louis. Where at, Louis? Yeah, Louis older. And then we got a couple we got a star-studded cast over there too with the first sergeant, Mahaka. And there's a few others in here. But anyways, 50 years here. Ruben was born a Marine in Satine. He wasn't born in counties. Oh, by the way, too, I'm also known as Bear. All right? You already got that point. And yes, I concur with you. But we also have another name for him. Besides Papa. But that's kind of an internal thing. But anyways, he was born in Satine. That means the old Marine uniforms, not counties. Back in he's part of the old Corps. A lot of these other Marines are new Corps. And we grew up a lot differently inside the Corps. But there's still one thing, we're all Marines and we work together. Ruben, yeah, we're both assholes. That's why we got them wrong. We got them wrong great. You know, I used to tell them, we're number one, man. And we used to tell everybody else they were on number one. And that's just the way it was, and that's how we hung out with our brothers. We drank beer, we had great times, we cooked. And, I was 18 years old when I lost my first brother. 50 years ago. A little difficult. Nah, it's a lot difficult. But anyways, he's my younger brother, and I'm here to take care of him. We're here to take care of each other. Every time we went out to do what we had to do, Ruben was always next to me. And our little formations and all that, we went up together, we go back together, we bitched together, we prayed together, whatever it was. But, you know, I got this right here, he loves drinking this stuff. So why? So anyway, Ruben, follow your general orders, you're all close now. Simplify, just in peace. Rah. With you.
I didn't want to come up here. I'm Gloria, I'm your baby sister. Frank see me in there. I used to hang out with him and Ellen here quite often. He was my bro. I love him. I'm gonna miss him dearly. I got to spend a lot of time with him. He called me in April and said, "Sister, what are you doing this weekend?" I said, "Nothing." He's like, "Come on down, it's a fair." Now my brother was not walking, so I'm like, okay. So he had a little scooty scoot that Gal bought it, that he was quite proud of. And we went to the fair, and we had great talks. You know, we laughed, but I think he knew he was leaving me. Because, you know, he gave me that hug that he had never really, that really hard, loving, "I'm going to miss you, sister," you know. And he knows I didn't want him to go like this. I'm mad at him because he left me on single day. He'll never be the same because he went out with a boom. But that was my brother. I love him. I have millions of stories, but I can't share because he'd have to come down and get me. But yeah, he was my favorite guy. And he was a good guy, but I loved him. And rest easy, brother. Thank you for coming. Bye.
Never get the right microphone.
Yes, my name is Tony Esparza. I'm the oldest color guard member in the league. But I remember Ruben. The first time he came here, we tournamented and everything. The second time, I found out that he was a Raiders fan. And I told him, I'm a Yankee fan. I'm a Bulls fan. And my other team is the Lakers. And we started talking about the Raiders. When the Raiders and the Eagles were playing on the Super Bowl, they were doing good. They were ahead 7-0. Then the Eagles scored. And there was, hey, it's going to be a tie. And I had a bet for $200 that there was going to be a tie right there. But it turned out to be the big Ken Hendricks, member of the Colts before, came up and blocked the extra point. And they went my $200 out the door. And I told Ruben, "Hey, Ruben, this guy's owe me $200, man." And then Hendricks owed me $200. And he just started laughing and he said, and we left that out. And this guy, Ruben, now he's with the rest of our brothers, guarding the gates of heaven for all of us to come in. Thank you. Thank you. Rest in peace.
Welcome, everybody. I am the Junior Past Commandant of the Marine Corps Tucson Detachment 007. I had the privilege to be the Commandant, and I had Ruben appointed as my director, and he did a fantastic job. But you know, we just don't have enough time. He just left real quick, like Lincoln on an eye. I know that for over a year he did some color guard duty with us, and then he got sick. Then he came back. I thought he was going to make it, but unfortunately he didn't. But one salute to one Marine to the other. Band of brothers, you won't forget. Salute. Ruben Reyes, rest in peace, brother. Thank you.
Anyone else like to come up and talk about Ruben?
One more thing, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, one more thing.
Yes, sir.
If you look at the back of our wall there, we have a plaque here, and the plaque states, Tucson Detachment, Color Guard, Final Post, guarding the streets of heaven. Those are our Marines that have just passed over the past few years. I saw the Annie Ruben's name on there as well. Okay. For reals, I'm done now.
Anyone else like to speak? Pardon me? Mom. I'm number one.
Hi, I'm Ruben's mother-in-law. I already started. What I want to say is, 11 years ago, Ruben and Valerie came into the house, and Ruben was really nervous, so he would go out and smoke a cigarette, come back in, go out and smoke another cigarette. Then he finally told Valerie, go outside. And John and I looked at each other and said, what is he doing? Anyway, he turns around and he says, Mom, John, I would like to ask for Valerie's hand in marriage. He said, but don't give me your answer right now. He says, let me go smoke a cigarette. So he went out there and smoked another cigarette. Then my husband says, she's a grown-ass woman. Why does she need our permission? And then he comes in and he says, well, I gave you a few minutes to think about it. What are you going to say? And my husband looks and he says, Ruben, you can have her. But I'm telling you right now, there is no return. So they've been married 11 years, and I love that man. I really do, with my whole heart and soul. Thank you.
Is there anybody else? Oh, I have to be the last one.
Anyone else like to speak?
This is actually directly for you. Come back.
Oh, to me?
Yes.
Uh-oh.
Go, Jerry. Open up your memory bank.
Does it work? Use the mic here. It work.
You gotta talk to myself.
Oh. Does it work? No. Okay, think back to February 16th, 2024. 0500. And Jerry and Betty, we invited you to go to Sackatoon, Arizona, and you sat in the back seat. And on the way back, Ruben, who was sitting in the back seat, complained and complained that it was hot. And I said, this is a Cadillac. It's working. I did everything I could. Anyway, we get back to South Tucson, Arizona, and as he got out, he was extremely disgruntled. He says this was the hottest ride he ever had in his life. And I insisted that the air conditioning was working. This Monday, at about 7:30 in the morning, when I was getting my oil change at Royal Cadillac, the service guy says, your air conditioning is not working. And I kind of suspected it for a long time. Anyway, they put a new filter in, and the air conditioning works as of Monday. It took 27 months for me to fix that. So, if you remember that, right? Complain. Betty didn't complain, but you didn't complain either. Oh, okay, now let's be clear.
I just wanted to tell you, thank you guys for all being here and celebrating Ruben. I was laying in bed one night and I was all, baby, how am I going to do this without you? I don't know if I could plan this. He goes, baby, just sit back and look pretty like you always do and let everybody else help you. So I want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you, and especially my color guard that has done an amazing job in his celebration. So I want to tell you guys, thank you so much, and everybody that has helped me through this, my coworkers, friends, family that has been reaching out to me. I duly, duly appreciate everything you guys have done. Thank you. Now let's celebrate.
Again, that's a tough act to follow. So I just want to finish up by saying that we appreciate you guys sharing your memories and your stories of and love of Ruben. Also, I don't really think that this is goodbye. Because, Ruben never really said goodbye. He always said, see you later. And I think that feels exactly right. So no, this is not goodbye. This is see you later. And in true Ruben style, like Valerie said, let's party.
Dijo un arriero.